The case of the United States vs. Chong with Gr. No. L5272. This case happened on March 19, 1910. Here are the facts of this case. In this case, we have the accused, Arnell, who was employed as a cook for a company. He has a co-worker who became the victim in this case, named Pasquale, who was employed as a houseboy. The two of them shared a room with a door that had no permanent lock. As a means of securing it, a chair was placed against the door. One night, Arnell, who was alone in the company quarters, was suddenly awakened by someone knocking and forcefully trying to open the door of the room. He sat up in bed and called out twice, "Who is there?" He heard no answer and was convinced by the noise at the door that it was being pushed open by someone bent upon forcing his way into the room. The defendant, fearing that the intruder was a robber or a thief, leapt to his feet and called out, "If you enter the room, I will kill you." At that moment, the door was forced open, and the chair that was placed after it fell. The defendant made a fatal blow using the knife directly on the person who forcefully entered the door. Because of the darkness of the room, the defendant thought he was being hit by the intruder, that's why he did such an aggressive act. The person fell to the ground right after we were struck by the knife. Arnell was shocked because the supposed intruder who he stabbed turned out to be Pasquale, who was his roommate. Pasquale incurred fatal stab wounds that caused his immediate death, and because of that, Arnell was charged with murder. The ruling of the Supreme Court in this case held Arnell not criminally liable because of the principle of ignorance or mistake of fact, as stipulated in the Latin maxim ignorantia facti excusat. The Supreme Court ruled that the three requirements of a mistake of fact are present in this case. The first requisite states that the act done would have been lawful had the facts been as the accused believed them to be. In this case, the act of Arnell stabbing the person who he thought was an intruder would have been lawful if that person was really an intruder because that would constitute a reasonable defense of property. Second, the intention of the Arnell in performing the act would be lawful because he acted in good faith and was not due to negligence or bad faith. And lastly, the mistake on the part of the accused is without fault or carelessness, given that he gave prior warning to the supposed intruder, who turned out to be his roommate Pasquale. Furthermore, the Supreme Court said that evil intent is in general an inseparable element in every crime, and in this case, clearly, the defendant in stabbing the supposed intruder had no evil intent or did not act with malice. The guilt of the accused must depend on the circumstances as they appear to him. In this case, the defendant struck the fatal blow in the firm belief that the intruder who forced open the door was a thief, but unfortunately it was his roommate Pasquale. Hence, Arnell was acquitted.